Welcome back to Wellness for Seniors, your channel for brain health and senior wellness. Have you ever noticed how different your mind feels after a great night's sleep? Suddenly, the fog lifts, ideas flow, and memories come easily. Now imagine the opposite, a restless night. The next day, names slip away, focus drifts, and even simple tasks feel harder. What if I told you that these daily ups and downs reveal a much bigger truth? That sleep is not just rest, but one of the most powerful guardians of your brain's long-term health. Scientists now understand something extraordinary. Your brain literally cleans and repairs itself while you sleep. Far from being idle, your brain is hard at work during those quiet hours, flushing out toxins, filing away memories, and strengthening the very circuits that make you who you are. Without enough quality sleep, this system breaks down, leaving clutter in the brain and setting the stage for cognitive decline. Consider this. Research from the National Institutes of Health shows that during deep sleep, the brain's glymphatic system, a kind of nightly cleaning crew, becomes 60% more active, washing away harmful proteins like beta amyloid, which is linked to Alzheimer's disease. Without sufficient sleep, those proteins accumulate, silently raising the risk of dementia. And this isn't just theory. In large population studies, seniors who consistently sleep fewer than 6 hours a night have been found to face a 30% higher risk of memory loss and cognitive decline compared to those who sleep 7 to 8 hours. Sleep is not simply a comfort. It is a biological necessity for brain longevity. Around the world, elders who remain sharp at 90 often share one hidden habit: they guard their sleep. They keep consistent bedtimes. They allow their minds to rest, and they respect the night as sacred time for healing. Whether in the quiet villages of Sardinia, the calm homes of Okinawa, or the small towns of America, sharp seniors know instinctively what science is only now confirming. Sleep is the foundation of a long and clear mind. Tonight, we'll explore how sleep shapes brain health. We'll dive into its role in memory, its power to clear toxins, its link to mood and focus, and the dangers of long-term deprivation. We'll also uncover practical steps to improve sleep, even when aging brings challenges. By the end, you'll see how honoring your sleep can truly honor your brain, for today and for decades to come. So settle in, let your mind relax, and join me as we uncover the first connection: how sleep preserves memory, one night at a time. Sleep and the architecture of memory. One of sleep's most vital roles is in shaping memory. Think of your brain like a giant library. Every day, you collect books, conversations, facts, skills, emotions. But during waking hours, those books are scattered on the floor. It's only while you sleep that your brain's librarian comes in, sorts them onto the shelves, and decides which memories to keep and which to discard. Research shows that different stages of sleep play unique roles in memory. During deep, slow-wave sleep, short-term memories are transferred into long-term storage. During REM sleep, the brain integrates emotions and experiences, weaving them into coherent narratives. Miss out on either stage, and the system falters. That's why after a night of poor sleep, people often struggle not only with recalling details, but also with regulating emotions. A landmark study at Harvard Medical School found that students who reviewed information and then slept performed nearly 40% better on memory tests than those who stayed awake. While this study was done on younger adults, the principle holds true across the lifespan. Sleep solidifies learning. For seniors, this means every night's rest helps protect against the gradual erosion of memory. Consider Eleanor, an 88-year-old retired teacher. She swears by her 9:30 p.m. bedtime. "It's how I keep my mind fresh," she says. Decades of honoring sleep have paid off. She still recalls her students' names, recites poems from memory, and keeps up with her grandchildren's lessons. Her story mirrors what science shows us. Consistent, quality sleep builds a fortress around memory. But here's the challenge. Aging can disrupt sleep patterns. Changes in circadian rhythms, medications, and health conditions often make it harder for seniors to reach deep stages of rest. The good news is that simple habits, like creating a calming bedtime routine, limiting caffeine, and keeping the bedroom dark and cool, can restore those precious hours of deep sleep. So, if you want to keep your memories safe, protect your sleep. Every night is an opportunity to file away the library of your life. And tomorrow, When you wake, you'll carry those memories forward with clarity. Next, let's go even deeper into the very cleaning system of the brain that becomes active while you rest. This is where sleep literally washes away the risks of decline. Sleep as the brain's cleaning system. When most people think of sleep, they imagine rest, a body lying still, a mind drifting into dreams. But scientists have discovered something far more remarkable. While you sleep, your brain is anything but idle. In fact, it becomes one of the busiest cleaning crews in the body, scrubbing away waste and toxins that build up during the day. This nightly cleansing process is one of the most important links between sleep and brain longevity. The system responsible for this cleanup is called the glymphatic system. You may not have heard of it because it was only fully recognized by scientists in the last decade. During waking hours, brain cells are packed closely together, busily firing signals and processing information. But when you drift into deep sleep, those cells actually shrink slightly, creating extra space between them. Into those spaces flows cerebrospinal fluid, washing through the brain like a gentle tide, carrying away waste products and harmful proteins. One of the most dangerous of those proteins is beta-amyloid, the sticky substance that forms plaques in the brains of people with Alzheimer's disease. Another is tau protein, which creates tangles that disrupt communication between brain cells. Studies from the National Institutes of Health and the University of Rochester have shown that during deep, restorative sleep, levels of beta-amyloid in the brain can fall by as much as 25% overnight. Without that nightly rinse, these toxins accumulate day after day, year after year, silently raising the risk of dementia. Think of it this way. Every day, your brain works like a busy office, generating paperwork. Sleep is the janitor who comes in at night to file, recycle, and take out the trash. If the janitor doesn't show up, the paperwork piles up until the office can no longer function. Seniors who neglect sleep may feel fine in the short term, but over years, the clutter builds, slowing thought, fogging memory, and eventually leading to serious decline. Now imagine the opposite, a lifetime of respecting sleep. Each night, the brain has time to flush toxins, repair cells, and keep pathways clear. This is why seniors who prioritize 7 to 8 hours of restful sleep so often remain sharp even in their late 80s and 90s. Their brains have been consistently maintained, like a car that's had every oil change on schedule. Consider Thomas, an 89-year-old retired engineer. He has always been meticulous about his routines, and sleep is no exception. At exactly 10 p.m. every night, he shuts off screens, reads a chapter of a book, and lets himself drift into slumber. He wakes at 6, refreshed and alert. His doctor notes that his memory tests are far above average for his age. Thomas credits it not to supplements or fancy treatments, but to something simple. I never shortchanged my sleep. Science agrees with Thomas. A long-term study published in Nature Neuroscience followed older adults for years and found that those with chronic sleep deprivation showed significantly higher deposits of beta-amyloid compared to their well-rested peers. The difference was stark. One group carried the burden of toxic buildup, while the other enjoyed clearer minds. But here's the challenge. As we age, sleep often becomes lighter and more fragmented. Seniors may wake frequently, struggle to fall asleep, or spend less time in deep stages of rest. That makes protecting sleep hygiene even more critical. Simple adjustments can help: keeping a dark, cool bedroom, limiting caffeine after midday, and creating calming rituals like listening to soft music or practicing gentle breathing before bed. There's also growing evidence that even short naps, if taken wisely, can support this cleaning process. Researchers in Greece found that seniors who took brief, consistent afternoon naps showed better cognitive performance and lower levels of stress hormones. The key, however, is keeping naps under 30 minutes so they don't disrupt nighttime sleep. So, the third secret is this: sleep is your brain's janitor, its repair crew, and its guardian all at once. Every night you give yourself deep rest, you're allowing an invisible team to sweep through your mind, clearing away the very substances that threaten memory and clarity. If you've ever felt clearer after a good night's sleep, now you know why. That clarity isn't just in your imagination. It's the result of your brain being freshly washed, repaired, and restored. And over decades, this nightly cleaning becomes one of the most powerful defenses against dementia. So tonight, When you prepare for bed, remember, you are not just resting. You are giving your brain the chance to heal, cleanse, and prepare for a longer, sharper tomorrow. Now that we understand how sleep keeps the brain physically clean, let's explore its other superpower, how it stabilizes mood, sharpens focus, and keeps the emotional brain balanced even into advanced age. Sleep, mood, and emotional balance. We've seen how sleep acts as the brain's nightly cleaning crew, sweeping away toxins that threaten long-term health. But sleep does more than maintain the physical structure of the brain. It also preserves one of the most delicate aspects of mental longevity, our emotions. The fourth secret in the link between sleep and brain health is that sleep stabilizes mood, sharpens focus, and keeps the emotional brain in balance. Think about the last time you had a restless night. The next morning, even small frustrations seemed larger. Traffic felt unbearable, conversations more irritating, and worries heavier. That's because sleep deprivation doesn't just make you tired, it alters the chemistry of your emotional brain. At the center of this story is the amygdala, the almond-shaped region of the brain responsible for processing emotions, especially fear and stress. Research from the University of California, Berkeley, found that when people are sleep-deprived, their amygdala becomes 60% more reactive to negative stimuli. In other words, lack of sleep makes the brain more sensitive to stress and more likely to overreact. At the same time, the connection between the amygdala and the prefrontal cortex, the rational, decision-making part of the brain, weakens. This imbalance leaves emotions unregulated, like a car with a stuck accelerator and no brakes. Now, let's flip the picture. When you sleep well, especially during REM sleep, your brain processes emotions, smoothing out the rough edges of the day. Dreams, though sometimes strange, serve an important purpose. They allow your mind to rehearse challenges, defuse stress, and file away emotional experiences into context. Some scientists call REM sleep overnight therapy. It's why after a solid night of rest, yesterday's arguments feel less sharp and tomorrow's challenges less daunting. Consider Margaret, a 91-year-old retired nurse. She lost her husband years ago and admits the grief was overwhelming. What helped her endure, she says, was her commitment to sleep. Even in her sadness, she protected her nighttime routine, warm tea, prayer, and bed at the same hour. Each morning, she explains, I woke with a little more strength. Decades later, her mind remains sharp and her spirit steady. She credits her resilience not only to faith, but to the healing power of sleep. Science echoes Margaret's wisdom. A study published in the Journal of Sleep Research found that older adults who reported consistent, high-quality sleep were significantly less likely to suffer from depression or anxiety. Another study showed that seniors who maintained good sleep patterns had better attention spans and cognitive flexibility, meaning they could adapt more easily to new situations and solve problems with greater clarity. This connection between sleep and emotional balance is not a luxury, it is essential. Chronic sleep deprivation has been linked to higher rates of mood disorders, including depression and irritability, which in turn accelerate cognitive decline. Stress and poor sleep form a vicious cycle. Stress disturbs rest, and lack of rest magnifies stress. Seniors who break this cycle by prioritizing sleep often find not only sharper minds, but lighter hearts. So, what practical steps can support emotional balance through sleep? One of the most effective is creating a wind-down ritual. Turn off bright screens an hour before bed. Replace the glow of phones and televisions with softer light, and engage in calming activities, reading, gentle stretches, or listening to soothing music. These habits signal to the brain that it's time to shift gears, allowing the emotional centers to cool down. Another overlooked tool is keeping a gratitude journal by the bedside. Writing down 3 things you're thankful for each evening not only reduces stress, but also primes the mind for more restful sleep. Studies show that gratitude practices lower nighttime rumination, those racing thoughts that often keep us awake, and help the brain enter deeper rest. Even simple breathing exercises before bed can make a difference. Inhaling slowly for 4 counts, holding for 4, and exhaling for 6 helps reduce heart rate, calm the nervous system, and prepare the emotional brain for recovery. Many sharp seniors practice these techniques instinctively, building resilience night after night. The fourth secret, then, is clear. sleep is emotional medicine. It calms the storms of the amygdala, strengthens the guiding hand of the prefrontal cortex, and restores perspective. Seniors who honor their sleep don't just protect memory, they preserve joy, patience, and peace of mind. As we continue, we'll see how this balance extends even further into the realm of long-term disease prevention. Because beyond mood and memory, sleep is a shield against some of the most serious risks to brain longevity, from stroke to dementia. That brings us to the fifth secret: how sleep protects the brain from silent but deadly threats. Sleep as protection against brain disease. Up to this point, we've explored how sleep strengthens memory, clears toxins, and balances mood. But perhaps the most powerful and least appreciated link between sleep and brain longevity is its role in protecting against long-term neurological disease. Sleep isn't just about feeling refreshed tomorrow. It's about safeguarding your brain from the silent, creeping risks of stroke, dementia, and cognitive decline decades into the future. Let's start with dementia. As we discussed earlier, poor sleep allows harmful proteins like beta amyloid and tau to accumulate in the brain. Over years, these proteins form plaques and tangles that interfere with communication between neurons. According to research from the National Institute on Aging, adults over 65 who regularly sleep fewer than 6 hours per night have a 30% higher risk of developing dementia compared to those who sleep 7 to 8 hours. Another study, published in Nature Neuroscience, found that even a single night of poor sleep can increase beta amyloid levels measurably. Imagine what decades of chronic deprivation can do. But dementia isn't the only threat. Stroke and other vascular diseases are deeply tied to sleep quality. During sleep, blood pressure naturally dips, giving arteries a chance to rest. If this nightly dip is disrupted, as happens with sleep apnea, insomnia, or frequent awakenings, blood vessels remain under stress. Over time, this increases the risk of hypertension, stroke, and damage to the delicate vessels that feed the brain. Seniors who snore heavily or experience breathing pauses in sleep may face especially high risks, since untreated sleep apnea is linked to a 2 to 3-fold increase in the likelihood of stroke or cognitive impairment. Consider George, an 86-year-old who suffered a mini stroke, or TIA, a few years ago. At first, doctors focused on his diet and blood pressure medication, but a sleep study revealed he had severe sleep apnea. His brain was being deprived of oxygen dozens of times each night. Once treated with a CPAP machine, his energy returned, his memory improved, and he hasn't had another stroke since. His story illustrates an important truth: protecting the brain requires protecting sleep. There's also Parkinson's disease, another condition tied to sleep. Researchers have found that disturbances in REM sleep often appear years before Parkinson's symptoms, acting as an early warning sign. Seniors who pay attention to their sleep patterns, noticing vivid dreams, restlessness, or sudden movements at night, can sometimes detect neurological problems before they fully develop. Sleep doesn't just prevent disease, it can reveal it. So how exactly does good sleep protect the brain so effectively? Scientists point to several mechanisms. Cleansing toxins through the glymphatic system, regulating inflammation, since chronic sleep loss raises inflammatory markers that damage neurons, balancing blood sugar and blood pressure, both of which are crucial for brain health, boosting immune function, allowing the body to fight off infections that can trigger cognitive decline. Each night of quality rest reinforces these protective systems. Each lost night chips away at them. Over decades, the difference can be enormous. The good news is that it's never too late to improve. Even seniors who've struggled with sleep for years can see dramatic benefits from changes. Treating sleep apnea, reducing nighttime disruptions, and creating consistent sleep routines have been shown to lower dementia risk, improve cardiovascular health, and restore mental clarity. Let me share the example of Clara, a 90-year-old in Italy. For years, she struggled with insomnia, waking frequently and feeling foggy during the day. With her doctor's help, she began practicing relaxation techniques in the evening, cut out late caffeine, and started going to bed at the same hour each night. Within months, her mood lifted, her energy returned, and her family noticed her memory had sharpened. Clara often tells neighbors, "Sleep gave me back my mind." This is the protective power of sleep. It shields the brain from slow but devastating diseases, strengthens resilience, and keeps cognitive decline at bay. While we cannot control every factor in aging, sleep remains one of the most powerful levers within our reach. The fifth secret, then, is this: quality sleep is preventive medicine for the brain. It lowers the risk of dementia, reduces chances of stroke, and helps detect problems early. Seniors who respect their sleep are not only living longer, they are living sharper, clearer, and freer from disease. Now, as we move into the final chapter of our journey, we'll bring everything together. Because beyond science and data, sleep connects to something deeper, a sense of rhythm, gratitude, and balance in life. Let's close with the sixth secret: the mindset of honoring sleep as a gift to the self and the key to living sharp at any age. We have traveled together through the many ways sleep shapes the health of the brain, from storing memories, to cleansing toxins, to balancing emotions, and protecting against devastating diseases. But as we close this journey, it's important to step back and see the bigger picture. Sleep is not just a biological function or a medical prescription. It is a rhythm, a gift, and perhaps even a philosophy of life. The sixth and final secret of brain longevity is learning to honor sleep as a sacred practice, a daily renewal of mind, body, and spirit. In modern society, sleep is often treated as an inconvenience. People boast about getting by on 5 hours a night, or wear their exhaustion like a badge of honor. But sharp seniors at 90 know a different truth. They see sleep not as wasted time, but as invested time, hours that return dividends in clarity, energy, and peace. For them, sleep is as vital as food or air. It is their nightly ritual of self-care, as important as any medicine. Consider the wisdom of elders in Okinawa. Many begin winding down at dusk, aligning their bodies with the natural light-dark cycle. They sip calming teas, dim lanterns, and prepare their homes for rest. In Sardinia, older villagers end their evenings with gentle conversations, then retire early to let their bodies heal. In Loma Linda, California, many Adventist seniors treat sleep as part of their faith practice, honoring the body's need for rest as a divine rhythm. Different cultures, one truth: sleep is life's natural balance. Science affirms this wisdom. Studies from Harvard and Stanford show that seniors who practice consistent sleep routines, going to bed and waking up at the same times daily, enjoy not only sharper cognition but also lower rates of heart disease, depression, and even chronic pain. Consistency is not glamorous, but it is powerful. It teaches the brain when to rest, when to repair, and when to awaken refreshed. And beyond consistency, there is gratitude. Many sharp seniors speak of sleep not with frustration, but with appreciation. They treat bedtime as a moment to reflect, to pray, or to journal. This mindset shifts sleep from a problem to be solved into a blessing to be received. Gratitude itself improves sleep quality, as research shows that thankful thoughts reduce nighttime rumination and lower stress hormones. Let me share one final story. Henry, a 95-year-old retired librarian, still wakes with remarkable clarity each morning. When asked his secret, he doesn't mention supplements or special exercises. Instead, he smiles and says, "Every night, I thank the day for what it gave me, and I thank the night for what it will restore." His family marvels at his sharpness, but Henry insists it's simple: gratitude, rest, and respect for his body's needs. So as we bring this journey to a close, I invite you to reflect. How do you treat your sleep? As a burden, an afterthought squeezed between late-night television and early morning alarms? Or as a vital, restorative rhythm that can shape not just tomorrow's clarity, but decades of mental strength? The choice is yours, and the science is clear. Honoring sleep is one of the most powerful ways to preserve your brain for the long run. The sixth secret, then, is a mindset: to see sleep not as lost time, but as sacred time. Time for the brain to heal, to dream, to grow, and to prepare you for another day of life. Seniors who live by this philosophy embody the truth we have explored tonight: that sleep is not separate from longevity. It is the very foundation of it. Thank you for joining me on this exploration of sleep and brain health. If this journey has given you insight or hope, I encourage you to share it with someone you love. Sleep, after all, is not just personal. It's a gift we can encourage in each other, creating healthier families and communities. And if you'd like to continue learning how to protect your brain, improve memory, and live sharper at any age, don't forget to subscribe to Wellness for Seniors. Each week, we'll uncover more science-backed secrets to help you thrive in your later years. Until next time, remember this simple truth. Every night of sleep is an investment in tomorrow's clarity. Protect it, honor it, and let it guide you toward a long life filled with sharpness, joy, and peace.